Hello, everyone. I'm Mr. Younger. I'm teaching your NAS 132 this summer. I've been teaching physics and astronomy for well over 20 years. I've been teaching at TCC for the last probably 9 years. We're teaching an online NAS 132 class this semester. This is what we call Astronomy 2, even though you can take 131 or 132 first. 132 is really the course I prefer to teach anyways, because we, cover the basic science just like we do in 131. So chapters 1 through 5, 1 through 7, depending on what instructor you have. And then we jump straight from there if we're in 131 and we start talking about the sun and then the planets. Whereas if you're in 132, we start talking about the sun and then we go on to other stars and we cover black holes and neutron stars and cool stuff like that, relativity, cosmology. I did my PhD work in general relativity. And basically cosmology type stuff. So that's sort of more of my interest. So I really love this stuff. I love the Big Bang. I love the theory of evolution and cool stuff like that. So I'm going to talk about that in the course. But like I said, 131 and 132 start off just the same. So I thought I'd introduce you guys to me. Just wanted you to know, hey, I'm your instructor. Most of you seem to have taken my 131 class before. Some of you haven't met me before or whatever. So I've got a fun semester planned out for you. We're going to go through the brutal science part, and then the rest of the semester, once you finish chapters, and in my class it's going to be chapter 7 basically. Once you finish chapter 7, basically everything is about using what you learned in chapters 1 through 7 to make sense of how we reached the conclusions that we did about black holes, about how stars work, about how galaxies are formed, and how the Big Bang occurred, and how it made what we see before us. Because, if the Big Bang only created hydrogen, helium, and maybe a trace amount of lithium and beryllium, we come to the conclusion that we got a little bit of explaining to do. So I talk about all that good stuff. Labs, I don't really necessarily know what I'm going to do each week yet. I'm still working through some of that headache. I've got numerous things I can do. I've got more than 40 some labs that I could do at any time, but I'm trying to find the ones that I think y'all would be most excited about and that sort of stuff. What I will tell you about astronomy is it's the single best class that I think we offer in a science for either here at TCC or any of the other schools I've ever taught at. If I had a large group of teachers that needed a science course and I was king for a day, I would suggest they all take NAS 131 and NAS 132, or just our NAS 130 class, which is sort of taking both semesters and covering it in one. The reason being is that astronomy is sort of not only is it the oldest science, but it's the science that covers the most sciences. So in astronomy, obviously, we're going to learn various branches of astronomy. We're going to learn astrophysics, planetology, comparative planetology, geology, cosmology, but we're also going to learn other sciences as well. In terms of geology, that was more of an exogeology, geology of other bodies, but we're going to learn about geology, we're going to learn about volcanology, plate tectonics, we're going to learn about chemistry. We're going to learn about how the various chemicals in the atmosphere interact with other chemicals and elements in the atmosphere to cause the ozone depletion or global warming and that sort of thing. We're going to learn about volcanology. We're going to learn about biology. How does life begin on a planet? What actually would create that? What would start life from seemingly random processes? In fact, the processes aren't really random, but the metamorphoses are random, but the actual things that make them survive are not random. So we talk about evolutionary biology, all that good stuff. So it's really a good fundamental science. It teaches you a lot of brute force science stuff so that you can go into any other science and make some headway into it and understand the scientific process and how it looks different from various different perspectives. I know you've probably all seen the scientific method that they hang on various walls in schools and stuff like that, and very seldom is science actually done that way. It's actually done as a sort of higgledy-piggledy conglomeration of things happening. So you'll learn a little bit about that. I'll talk about some cool scientists and tell you some cool stories. My ideal scenario is I'm going to be able to do a lecture at least per week. maybe even more often. I'm going to try to cover the material. I don't have the greatest bandwidth here in North Carolina, so I'll try to cover the material in a recording setting, to post the recording, and then I'll have live sessions I'm going to try to do at least at 10 a.m. every Thursday. Maybe I'll find another time on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something that's a different hour as opposed to 10 a.m. where I'll have another live meeting. I'd like to have at least one live meeting per week, but maybe even 2 or 3, and I'll fill in meetings as needed. The way the course is going to be run is every Monday you will go into Canvas. If you look at syllabus, it'll actually tell you you're supposed to log into Canvas on Sundays, I think Wednesdays and Fridays. And each of those sort of count as attendance days. Here at TCC, we don't do too much with attendance, but that will help me when I go to determine, like, if someone has to fail or drops a class or something like that. That'll be where I get my last attendance day from. So you are expected to, one, attend, or whatever the syllabus says. You're supposed to actually log in on those days and check your email on those days. And I'm supposed to, of course, reply to your email within 2 school days. So if you send me an email on, say, a Friday, I'm not expected to respond to you on Friday. I'm not expected to respond to you on Saturday or Sunday. In fact, I'm not even expected to respond to you by Monday, but rather the second business day or second school day, which is Tuesday. Similarly, if I send you an email, you're expected to reply to me within 2 school days. So if I send you one on, even if I send it to you Friday at 12:01 a.m., just after midnight the day before, you're not expected to respond to me until 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday. So keep that straight. We also have, like I said, every Monday that there will come up a module. Sometimes I'll open it the Wednesday before, but there will be a module for that week that comes up, and that week gives you the course objectives for that week. It gives you the requirements, i.e. what assignments are necessary that you do, and then it gives you resources and assignments. And those resources are basically what you need to do those assignments. And the assignments are, of course, things that you actually got to do. They will come up at least every Monday, but they might even come up the Wednesday before. But the main thing is, if they come up on Monday or Wednesday, if they come up on Wednesday, they will not be due the immediate Sunday. They'll be due the following Sunday after the Monday. So that's when your assignments are generally due. I did give you a little bit more of a grace period on this first week for obvious reasons that technologically we have some problems with being able to get smart work and all that stuff going. So if you're a little stressed about that, don't worry too much. We're going to work that out. But the main thing is, every Monday you'll get a list of things you're supposed to do, and every Sunday you're supposed to have them done. So you check your emails on Sundays, you check your emails on Wednesdays, you check your emails again on Friday, you check your Canvas page on, again, Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, the way the course is working is you have Astro Assign, or basically homework assignments and things of that sort that are basically due. You have Astro Points. You have, for the course grade, is basically just an average of all your test scores. I do different things when we get to meet face to face, but this time it's just going to be online tests. And then hopefully, if the weather, if the quarantine allows us, we'll actually get one proctored face-to-face final exam. If not, we'll just have to work it as not proctored. It'll be an online test. But the main thing is you'll have an online test usually every 2 chapters. And that puts it pretty close to once every week. You'll see in the syllabus where I've got it tentatively laid out. So the first test will be on chapters 1 and 2. The second will be 3 and 4, but it's comprehensive. So that means 1, 2, 3, and 4. The third test will be on 5 and 6, but it's really 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 and 6. Okay. There'll be practice tests, and I highly, highly, highly recommend you do those. There'll be chapter homeworks within Smart Work. You're supposed to do, I think what I said on the syllabus is at least 10 out of 75 or better. There's no advantage to you scoring higher than a 75. I'll put that in there in case there's any errors in the system. I'd rather you just get your 75 and keep on plugging, because sometimes you actually might be fighting for that 98 as opposed to a 92, only to find out there was an error in the problem. So let's not do that. There's also a system of Astro Points. So at the end of the semester, I'll drop your lowest test grade and then I'll average all those together plus your final exam, and that counts the same as basically any other test. But after dropping the lowest test grade, say if we had 8 tests and a final, that would be 9 total, but I dropped one of the lowest, not the final. I never dropped that. So that'd be 8 total. And then I take the sum of those and divide it by 8. That's your course grade tentatively. If you have gotten at least 1,500 Astro points, then you get to keep that grade. If you've got less than 1,500 Astro points, I'm taking 10 points away. Okay. Now, as long as your test average is 59.5 or higher, then the Astro points can really help you. So for instance, if you have 2,000 points, I'll give you 3 points on your final course grade, so that, you know, if you had a 78 average, now you've got an 80 average, and that pushes you up to a B. If you have 2,500 points, I'll give you 5 points on that tentative grade. And if you have 3,500 Astro points, I'll give you 7 points. So that's the way the scoring system, grading system works within here. And there's a lot of ways, as you'll see in the syllabus, to actually earn Astro points. You can score an 80 or better on a practice test, which you should be doing a ton of those anyways. You're 10 questions each, take 7 minutes. Suck it up, do it. Okay. You can score 75 or better on a smart work assignment. Once you get 10, basically you'll immediately get 50 points for each of those. So you'll get 500 points. If you get less than 10, you're going to get like minus 300 or minus 500. So that's a bad thing. You want to get at least 10. But every one you do at 10 or higher, you're going to get 50 points, Astro points. You're going to get 450 points and 750 points for attendance in some sense. We're not meeting face to face, so I've done some neat things with my syllabus so that you can get that. Anyway, so that's the way the course works. Like I said, it's basically your test average, drop the lowest test grade, but you count up all your tests and your final exam, add them all together and divide by the total number of tests plus exams minus 1, and that'll give you your course grade, and you get to keep that as long as you got 1,500 Astro points. If you got less, you're going to lose 10. If you got more, you can get 3 points, 5 points, or 7 points. So it sounds kind of complicated, but it's really quite easy. Now I want to just take time to share my screen and show you the syllabus and talk a little bit about it. So here we go. As soon as I can find the syllabus. Not that one, not that one. Not that one, not that one. Not that one. Okay, so I'm going to assume it is this one. And let's do share and see what happens. That is definitely not the one. Let's try another share. Hold on a second. I'm going to try to turn this to the right place. Let's see if I can get the actual syllabus up. This is not it. This is not it. Okay, so it should be that one. So let me get back to my Zoom screen. Share screen again. Let's see if it gives me the right option this time. Looks like it's this one. Why is it showing me that one? That is not the right one. Okay, hold on. This is the right one according to it. There you go. Now we got the right one finally. So this is our TCC syllabus. Notice this is NAS 132, section D01B. First thing I want you to notice is the best way to contact me is not my phone number. The only time you want to do that is like if you got to miss some tests or miss a final and you need a time and date stamped message to me. That's the only time you should really use that. In general, the best way to get up with me is to email me at younger@tcc.edu, but 2 rules. You must first Make sure you only email me from your TCC account, not the Canvas account, not any other accounts, not a Yahoo account. You need to email me from your TCC account, and you need to start your subject line with NAS space 132. If you do not use your TCC email account, I will not see your email more than likely. If you do not start your subject line with NAS space 132, I will not see your email. So make sure you do that. Really no safety concerns, especially not meeting face-to-face. So the main thing is they're going to have some chance for you to go out in the night sky, hopefully somewhere dark. So it's best that you go with a buddy, tell someone where you're going, when you'll be back, that sort of thing. But other than that, there's really no big deal about safety. You're required to have the 21st Century Astronomy by Kay, Palin, and Blumenthal in the 6th edition. You also have to have access to SmartWork 5. At Play in the Cosmos, I really expect you to have access to that, but that's more of an extra credit thing. I don't think I'll make that a mandatory assignment, but really you should get that with the SmartWork. And finally, you need to have a scientific calculator, so make sure you have that. You can basically purchase all this stuff, like if you want to e-text and all that stuff, you can purchase it straight from the Norton website, and it's probably the cheapest way to go anyways. Anyways, here's your outcomes for the course. Here's the topics covered. We don't always get to everything in there, so that's somewhat tentative. Here's a description of the assignments. Basically, you normally have face-to-face tests. I got to correct that. We're not going to have any face-to-face tests except for maybe the final. Ideally, we're shooting for a final exam that will be proctored. If you live close enough to a TCC campus, you can take the test at the testing facility for free anytime during that last week of school. If not, you're going to have to find a proctor to do it. It might be a local college or university or school, even a high school sometimes will do it, and you might have to pay something. The last day of class lab is July 31st, so basically you'll have to have it proctored somewhere during that week before that. I will post this too. I expect you to have that done by, say, probably 11 a.m. on July 31st to get your your comprehensive final exam finished. Here's more or less the topics that we're covering on what dates. As you can see, we should have a test next week on chapters 1 and 2. We cover essentially 2 chapters per week. We have a test every 2 chapters. Sometimes take breaks. Labs, I'm still deciding what's going on. Ideally, I'd like to be able to show everybody the universe beyond the Big Bang. I've tried to record that. I bought several copies so that I could record it, show it to you, but I've been unsuccessful so far. If you happen to be a sleuth at doing such things, please by all means tell me how I can go about getting Zoom to record a movie that I have purchased. I don't think it's illegal, specifically because I purchased it for this. Again, don't forget to send me the email through your TCC email account. Don't forget to put NAS space 132 at the beginning of your subject line. And also don't forget to put your name in it, because that kind of helps. Withdrawal policy, you can get a tuition refund up until May 28th. If you withdraw after July 1, you're going to get an F no matter what. I don't have any power over that. Generally speaking, I never recommend students to drop, so don't. Okay, if you're getting scared, you think you might not be doing well, send me an email and I'll either set up a Zoom meeting with you or give you a call or something. We'll figure out a way that you don't have to drop. Homework assignments are due by 11:55 p.m. every Sunday. I do give you a grace period. I used to give you 3 days at 5% each. Now I give you 5 days at 3% each. So even if you miss having it done, you still have 5 more days at 3% each. Of course, you got to get a 75 or better. So that makes it a little bit harder, but make sure you get it done. Do not miss it. You shouldn't miss any tests, especially the way I do the test. The online test will be like they're available for usually at least like a Friday till Monday, but sometimes they're open for a whole week. So you shouldn't ever miss a test. So that being said, don't wait till the last minute to do your tests. This is about classroom behavior. Obviously, that's not going to be an issue. However, we will have a discussion board. You need to treat everybody with respect and stuff like that on there, or else I could implement one of these harsh rules about kicking you out of class, blah, blah, blah. The way the online tests work, you are actually allowed to have your notes, you're allowed to have your textbook, you're allowed to have any book open you want. You can even do Google searches. The only thing you can't do is have another person communicating with you either directly or indirectly through texting, emailing, Zooming, Skyping, whatever. And you also can't go on a website that was created after the day that the test was released. So that just keeps people from really quickly making a website to show what's on the test. So if you click on any of those websites, that would be considered cheating. Other than that, you have your run of searches. Now, the downside is I give you anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds per question. So if you have to look up very many, you're going to run out of time. And if you run out of time, there's a harsh penalty. 10 points per minute you go over the allowed time. And I count minutes like they used to count cell phone minutes. So 1 to 60 seconds is 10 points off. 61 seconds is 20 points off. 61 all the way up to 120 is 20 points off. 121 seconds is 20 points off, or 30 points off, so on and so forth. Okay. So make sure you don't do that. The big thing is you really need to be working on how to learn, not how to rapidly look up stuff. If you're rapidly looking up stuff, you're not learning. Whatever you're doing, it's not learning. Okay. So I recommend building narratives to help you put together disparate facts and use mnemonics to memorize certain facts to help you get to those narratives. We'll talk about that as the semester goes on. Here's where the grading policy is spelled out. 1,500 Astra points is the bare minimum you should have. If you have less than that, I'm going to take 10 points away from your test average. All those points have to be turned in. It should be July 27th on both of these, so there's already a typo I found. Sometimes I require a written research paper, 1,000 to 2,000 words. Sometimes it's 1 or 2. I haven't been doing that lately. I'm probably not going to do that now, but I always give it as an option. If you feel like your grades aren't too good, you might want to do a research paper. I'm certainly open to doing that, but generally you don't have to do those. Constellation quizzes, I thought I X'd this out. We're not doing those, but we might actually have pictures of constellations without the lines drawn and without the labels. And you're ideally going to have to choose from a multiple choice scenario on a test, choose what constellation that is. If you fail to get a 49.5 or higher test average, your course grade will be an F no matter how many Astra points you earn. So the main thing is you got to maintain a 49.5% or higher. Failure to complete 6 or more labs, those are actual lab assignments, will get you 150 point Astra point deduction. Again, the 15 constellations, I thought I marked that out. It's not there. It's not marked out. So anyways, you don't have to do that. But I, again, may put constellations on the actual online test. Failure to complete 10 smart work assignments at 75 or higher will result in a 500 point deduction of your Astra points. Student earning any required deductions after any required deductions earning 2,500 Astra points or more will get 3 points added. 3,000 gets you 5. 3,500 gets you 7. Notice this is essentially a 10-point scale, but I got 2 little caveats right here. Basically, a C, you don't have to make a 69.5. You have to make a 68.5. And a D, you don't have to make a 59.5. You have to make a 58.5. So it's a 10-point scale with a little bit of a buffer to help you. Normally this 450 to 750 points are due to attendance, but we're doing an online class, so I've made a way around that. So if you complete every assigned lab that I did and complete every practice test with a grade of at least 60, then I'll give you 450 points. That's used to be for your lab attendance. Now also 750 points if you log in 3 days per week as required in the attendance. Each day you do miss, I'm going to subtract 37.5 points. So that's how we're getting a good fraction of your points. You can see already if I add these two together, I've got 1,200 points just from these 2 categories. So all you have to do is complete every lab assignment and take a practice test and score at least a 60 for each of the practice tests, and log into Canvas 3 times a week on the appropriate Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you will get 1,200 points right out of the gate from that. Again, with the constellations, this is going to be fixed. The way I fix it, by the way, you'll look in the syllabus where you find the syllabus in your course information. there will be the original one, and then the other one will have a date on the end of the name. The latest date is the most accurate one. 50 points for each smart work homework assignment at 75 or better. Of course, if you don't get the 10, it should be 10, not 12. There's another error. It's going to be a deduction of 300 points. So you can actually get quite a few points that way. If you did all the homeworks, you're already well above the 1,500 that's required. You can complete a book report for 500 or 250 to 700 points. There's all these other cool ways. You can go to Green Bank Radio Observatory. You can do planetarium shows, build and fire a model rocket. You can listen to podcasts. You can watch Big Bang Theory. All of these things, unless they say otherwise, require a 200-word or more synopsis write-up that you turn into me. That's how you get your points. If you show me a ticket stub or something like that you went to some show, I'm not going to give you the points unless you wrote the 200-word write-up. Okay, so there's all the ways you can do that. Withdrawal dates and things are in there, and at the back you'll actually find the list of books that I've approved, as well as some links to some important websites that you will see is already on your Canvas site as well. This is how you go about doing a book report, and these are the books that are approved and how much points they're worth, or how many points they're worth. I hope that makes some sense to you guys. I'm going to stop sharing that now. And again, I apologize for not having this Welcome to Astronomy video done earlier. At least I got it done now the second day. So I look forward to getting to know you guys. Actually, most of you already do know, and those that don't, I look forward to getting to know you through this class. And I hope you love astronomy as much as I enjoy teaching it. Have a good day, and keep an eye out for your emails. Whenever I post any new videos, I'll let you guys know. Have a good day.